There are three variations of for loop in JavaScript, and one of them you definitely want to avoid. I'll show you why. We have the classic for loop, which is if you wanted to loop through this array, you get for each index, I can go ahead and print out the nums at that index, the number at that index. Now we have the for off loop, which is the more modern syntax. It's more concise too, which means I don't even have to get the index. I can go ahead and just do let num of nums for each number and then go ahead and print it. Now there is the third one, which is the for in loop. And here I get the index and I go ahead and print out the numbers. Now I put a console.log to demarcate in the console. Now right now they look all the same. But what happens when I have an empty element in the array? You're going to see that here for the first one, the classic for loop, we have undefined in the fourth index. And then the same thing for the for off loop. But then the last one, you can see that the fourth element is skipped. And that's because the for in loop, you're looping through each properties of an object. Remember that an array is internally represented as an object. What happens is that you avoid every property that has a value of undefined. And this even becomes apparent if I set the nums at index 99 to 1, for example. So now the length of the array is 100. I'm gonna clean up this one. So the length of the array is 100, but yet you have only the ones without undefined value being printed out. So if the order of iteration is important to you, then definitely you want to avoid the for in loop. The other thing is the I here is actually a string, not a number. So that makes it even difficult for you to have code like this, to have checks. For example, if you wanted to do if nums at I equals to nums I plus 1, codes like this become really buggy, because if I have I plus 1 here, right, you can see I have 0, 1, 1, 1, because I is a string, and then a string plus a number gets concatenated and you have 0, 1. So comparing the value at I to the value of I plus 1 will always evaluate to be false, right? So it's always best to avoid the for in loop, because it's prone to errors, especially if you don't know all these. You copy code on the internet and you just paste it in a production code, right? You can easily break things. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. Thanks for watching.